Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of our Storyline Magic series here on the Discover eLearning YouTube channel. This video is going to be a great watch for Articulate Storyline developers looking to get creative using JavaScript, project variables and triggers, as we're going to be doing a deep dive into the YouTube Player API to see how we can use it to create some custom automation in Articulate Storyline 360. The YouTube Player API comes to us courtesy of Google and is very well documented and free to use following we abide with the Google Terms of Service. In Storyline, we may wish to use a streaming service like YouTube to host our video if we are perhaps dealing with a video heavy course, which means that we can have a better control over our course size, the slide loading times, and a better overall user experience for those dealing with lower bandwidth. Typically, by not having a standard video object on our slide and instead using a Storyline web object to load the video, we would end up losing the opportunity that it provides for us to create triggers based on video completion in Storyline's available actions list. But combining any embedded YouTube video with the Player API creates this opportunity and so much more for building custom automation, as you will see in this worked example. So here in my project I have a short video clip which plays as soon as the timeline starts, and then when the video has ended I have a storyline trigger in place to load the reveal button layer, which plays a short animation of our dog character here digging up the next slide button out of the ground. I'm going to delete that video and replace it with a completely blank web object. Before doing this, I also uploaded my video clip to YouTube and got its embed address, which will provide us with the video ID, which we'll be using in just a second. Let's go ahead and build the address to our video for our web object. First, we'll start with our video's embed address, which should look something like this, with the ID shown after the word embed. Now type a question mark, and we're going to add in some parameters now to our video. The first and most important of all is the parameter enable.js API equals 1, which is going to enable the video to speak directly to the YouTube Player API within our project. We'll add an ampersand and include a few more parameters. Autoplay equals 1 will start the video without the user needing to click play, so long as the user has interacted with the storyline activity in some way beforehand. Rel equals 0 will prevent the related video screen from showing when the video has ended, and modest branding equals 1 is a nice way of stopping some of YouTube's own branding from appearing within the Player UI. This is now ready to go, so we'll get this onto our slide and in position. Now let's create two new variables for storing both the video status and the current time value in Storyline. Both of these need to be text type variables. Okay, let's now get into some JavaScript coding and work some magic using the YouTube Player API. Create a new trigger to execute JavaScript when the timeline starts on our slide. We'll start our script by including the standard getPlayer function provided by Storyline to gain access to all of our Storyline project variables, and also a variable which we will later assign to our video object. Because the YouTube Player API uses the term player quite a lot, what I'm actually going to do here is change the name of the variable that is used by our Storyline function. And you may think that we are not able to do this and that the code provided by Storyline is set in stone, but that's only true on the function side, and we can actually name the variable anything we like, so long as we remember to use the same variable name later when we come to get and set variables within our project. Now we'll load the YouTube Player API into the script, and this is a set code snippet provided to us by Google, so we just need to add this in verbatim. Type var tag equals document.createElement and then script in parentheses and single quotes. Add a semicolon to the end of the line. Next, tag.source src equals, and then in quotes, the YouTube iframe API address as shown here. Add another semicolon, and then on the next line, var first script tag, remember to add a capital S and T, equals document.getElements by tag name, and then script in single quotes within parentheses, and then in square brackets add the number 0, and then close with a semicolon. And then one final line, first script tag dot parent node dot insert before, and then in parentheses tag, comma, first script tag, and a semicolon. Next, we are going to create an event listener function to trigger an action to occur once the API has loaded on the slide. We do this by typing window.onYouTube iframe API ready equals function, open and close parentheses. And then what is contained within the brackets here is what will load when the API is ready. If we wish to, we can add an alert at this stage as a debugging measure, just in case we get to a point in our code where we encounter a problem. That way, if we don't see this alert, then we know that the API did not load correctly onto the slide. I'm going to comment this line out using 2 forward slashes, but feel free to keep this in your project to view the result. I'm now going to use a query selector in order to get the video object on the slide in order to assign this to the myVideo variable. Type var iframe equals document.querySelector and then iframe within the parentheses and single quotes and a semicolon to finish. And then myVideo equals new yt.player and then open parentheses, iframe, comma, and a curly brace. And this tells the API that the player I want to use is the web object that we created in Storyline. With this in place, I can now set up some events that I want to trigger actions in Storyline. The first will be onStateChange, whenever the video is played, paused, or ended by the user. And also onReady, which allows us to do different things to the video as soon as it is loaded. Let's now set up 2 new functions. The first is going to be an onPlayerReady event, and the second will be an onPlayerStateChange event. We'll leave the first one empty for now and focus on what player state we want things to happen. Checking the API, you can see that each video state is designated a number which we can reference in our code, with 0 being ended, 1 for playing, and 2 for paused. So let's create a set of if statements, starting with if the event data is equal to 0, and in curly braces we will add the articulate storyline setVar function in order to change our vid status variable within our project. Let's create a variable just above this in JavaScript with a value of finished, and add the variable name to our code so that this gets assigned to the project variable. Now we will go ahead and do the same thing for the other player states using an else if statement directly after our first if statement, copying our code and changing the event data value to 1 and video status value to playing. Let's do that one more time for the pause state, which has an event value of 2. This is all set to go and is fully functional code. However, there's quite a lot of lines to keep a track of, and you might be thinking whether there is a better way. And indeed there is. as if we wanted to, we could instead use a switch statement in JavaScript by typing switch with our event data value in brackets, and then we create a case for each value that the event data could be. So starting with case 0, we add in what we want to happen, the same as in our if statements. And then we just need to make sure that we end each case with a break. That all looks good, so we're now ready to save this, and we'll add a variable reference to our vidStatus project variable onto the slide so we can see this changing as the video plays. We can now publish our project to see the result. Remember that it's not possible to activate JavaScript in preview mode in Storyline, so we need to publish the project fully to our desktop. As you can see, we can play and pause the video, and the API is sending that data from the video into our Storyline variable. When the video ends, we get that variable value of finished. So because we know what the variable will change to whenever the video state changes, we can use that to build up our automation in Storyline. Let's go ahead and add a new trigger to show our reveal next button layer when the variable changes, and add an if statement that the variable contents are equal to finished. Playing this back now in the browser should make the button animation play once the video has ended. Okay, this is all working great, so let's see what else we can do. How about when the video is paused, we show a message on screen that tells the user what time they paused the video. We created a text variable earlier for this, so I'll add a new text box onto my slide containing a reference to that variable. I want to animate it on and off the slide, so I'm going to add 2 animation paths to the text box and create a new true/false variable for storing whether the text box is in an up or down position. I'll then set that variable as soon as either the up or down animation has completed, and then I'll add a move action which will trigger when the vidStatus variable changes, assuming that the video status is playing and the text box is in the up position when I want it to move down, and in the down position and the time variable has changed when I want it to move up. Let's go back to our API execute JavaScript trigger now and add some new code when the video is in a pause state. We'll use the setVariable function in order to set our current time to the value of myvideo.getCurrentTime with open close parentheses. This function right here will get the current time of the video at the moment the video is paused and bring this into Storyline. Let's publish again and see the result. Before we finish up, we had a question on this topic from Phil on LinkedIn, who was interested in whether it was possible to use the YouTube Player API to play only a small section of a longer video, and that is indeed possible. To do this, we will go back to our API JavaScript and use the onPlayerReady event that we'd prepared earlier. Into this, we will add a new function available from the API called loadVideoById. This allows us to change the ID value of the video object at the moment that it is loaded, but the function also gives us the ability to define what are the start and end points in seconds for the video. So we can keep the ID value the same as our already loaded video if we don't actually want to change this. And the most important parts to this are the start seconds and end seconds values. If we publish this, you will be able to see the result, and the finish state actually triggers when we get to the defined video endpoint too, which is great for our automation management. But there is a problem, however, which is that with the video timeline interface here, the user can still simply click out of our defined area of the video to watch whatever they want, and this also breaks them out of the completion state loop. We can get around this, though not in an ideal way, by adding an additional parameter to our web object of controls equals 0 in order to remove the player controls. The user can only play and pause the video at this point. So by doing this, you may also want to add a slide reload button, which displays the moment the vid status variable changes to finished, which allows the user to replay the entire slide. There's loads of opportunity to use the YouTube Player API and the functionality it brings in many creative ways, so please go explore and have fun with this in your own Storyline projects. You can of course leave a comment below if you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, and if you've been enjoying our Storyline Magic series so far on YouTube, then please do like and subscribe to the Discover eLearning YouTube channel. And also visit the Discover eLearning website, where you will find our advanced storyline development tutorials that cover scripting languages like JavaScript and many more courses that are going to be coming very soon. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.